I was always taught that money is this taboo subject that we shouldn't talk about. We shouldn't ask somebody how much money they make, similar to how we shouldn't ask them their weight or their age. But to some degree, I disagree with this idea. I think it's important to know how much money other people are making. If I didn't know how much my peers were making, I would have accepted lower offers and I would be in a worse financial position than I am today. So what I want to do is share my salary progression at Facebook. We will start with when I became an intern back in 2018, work up to becoming a full-time software engineer, getting my first pay raise, and ultimately getting my first promotion before I left the company about 9 months ago. Okay, so first, let's start with the internships. In 2018, I was a summer intern and I made $8,000 per month. So annualized, this is a $96,000 salary, or over the course of my 12-week internship, it meant I was going to make $22,154. Now, I do think it's a little bit misleading when companies give intern salaries in terms of a monthly pay, because you think of a 12-week internship as being 3 months, but in reality, 12 weeks is less than 3 months, so that's why it's a little bit less than $24,000, which would be 3 months of pay. But anyways, that's how much I made, and in addition to this, I was also given corporate housing, but since I was in Seattle and I already had housing there, I chose to not take this corporate housing and instead take a stipend, which added $1,100, bringing my total to $25,354 over the course of the summer. Next, in 2019, I did another internship, but the pay didn't change, so I will just skip over that. I think they have since increased the intern pay a little bit, but in my 2 years, it was the exact same. Next, on August 3rd of 2020, I started as a full-time software engineer. And as far as I know, all of the returning interns got the same base salary, or at least the undergrads did. So it was $118,000, and in addition to this, a 10% target bonus. So this bonus was based on our salary, and it could change based on performance of yourself and of the company. In my case, it was always closer to about 15%, but the target was 10%. In addition to the salary, Facebook gives all of its employees a 4-year stock grant. So this is a stock grant that is going to vest evenly each quarter for those 4 years. And for the returning interns, as far as I know, there were 3 possible options: $150,000, $160,000, or $220,000. So $220 was for the very high performing interns, $150 was sort of the average, and then some people got $160 as well as sort of a middle ground. For me, I got that middle ground, so I got $160,000 over 4 years, or $40,000 per year, which came out to be 668 total stock units in the entire 4-year grant, and that is based on a $239 stock price. Next, I received a $75,000 signing bonus and a $10,000 relocation stipend, and I'm just going to group these together because in my case as a college student, I spent like $200 on relocation, so really it's just all one big signing bonus. So an $85,000 signing bonus, which brought my total compensation to $254,800. And again, this doesn't account for the fact that my bonus could change this a little bit if I overperform. And additionally, it doesn't account for other monetary benefits, but we will get into those in a moment. At the end of each year, Facebook gives salary increases and stock refreshers. So refreshers are just another 4-year grant that vests evenly starting from that date. So the idea is that after 4 years, your initial grant will have run out, so these refreshers make sure that your pay keeps increasing and it doesn't fall off a cliff at the end of that 4-year period. So at the end of my first calendar year at Facebook, my pay was increased, or my salary I should say, to $120,260.50, and I was given a stock refresher, so a 4-year grant, worth $21,714, which came out to 82 units, and that was based on the current stock price of $264.81. Now, usually these can be a little bit bigger, but it was sort of prorated because I'd only been at the company for 5 months. But regardless, this increased my total compensation by about $7,500 per year. And finally, at the midpoint of 2021, I was promoted to the next level of software engineer, which raised my salary to another oddly specific number, this time of $152,880. Now, this was a very significant pay bump, and in addition to this, at the end of the year, I likely would have received a very significant stock refresher based on that performance throughout the year. But as you might know, I did decide to quit my job at Facebook immediately after this promotion. So on September 13th, I quit my job with a total compensation of $238,952. Now, this seems lower than year one, and it is, but this is because there was no signing bonus in the second year, of course. But this is actually an inflated value because the stock had appreciated so much. So when I left, the stock price was $376.51. But since then, the stock price has decreased down about $200. So with that, my pay would have also decreased had I stayed at the company. Now, there are a bunch of other components to compensation that I think are oftentimes forgotten. The first being just that target bonus is only a target. For a high performer, this can go as high as about 30%. But in addition to this, there are all these other benefits. So for example, Facebook is going to match your 401k contributions. This can go up to about $10,000 per year based on your salary and how much you actually contribute yourself. But for pretty much anybody, you can get a few $1,000s of extra compensation through this program. Additionally, at the beginning of the pandemic, Facebook gave each of us $2,000. This was meant to be sort of pandemic relief, but you could use it for whatever you wanted. We also had free food at the office, or at least when the office is open, so we would have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and for me, I valued this a lot, just because I really don't like cooking, plus it's free food, so I would say to me it was worth probably $500 to $1,000 per month, but of course your mileage will vary there on how much you would actually use it, and just how much you value that as a benefit. Moreover, there was $720 for what is called a wellness benefit. I think this has actually increased since then, but essentially this was just money to use on things like gym memberships, which to me was free money because I would spend that money anyways. Additionally to this, we got incredibly good insurance, so health, dental, and vision insurance was all basically free or extremely cheap, and it was really good quality insurance, so I got a lot of value out of that. And in addition to this, they actually pay out PTO when you leave. So when I left Facebook, I had about 20 days of accrued PTO or paid time off. So these are our vacation days. And when you don't use them and you leave, they paid out like salary. Now, I don't love this just as a concept because it sort of incentivizes you not to use your vacation days. But regardless, it was nice when I left to get a nice check, like I had worked an extra 20 days. Okay, so that is my salary progression at Facebook. If you're interested in hearing more about my progression sort of through my whole career, do let me know and I'll make a video on it. Or if you want to hear more about finances from me, such as how I spent the money, let me know and I can make a video on that as well. Otherwise, make sure to like this video, subscribe for future content, and check out this video here that the YouTube algorithm thinks you'll enjoy.